Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. Come right on in, my friend. You're always welcome here, and I love the way we connect on, in different ways, and, through email, through snail mail. Sometimes I run into people in this Tampa Bay area, and we can talk and get acquainted. And so I'm thankful that this wonderful medium called television, that there's a lot of Christian television too, and that we can teach and tell people about the good things of the Lord, and that creates fellowship. Jesus is really into fellowship. It's so important in what we call the body of Christ. So come on in, and for you regular viewers or your brand new viewers, I've got a treat for you today because Carol Kent is with us. The Lord gave her to this program, 3 or 4 years ago, and she's been such a blessing. She's a writer, one of the top Christian writers, sold thousands of books, and she speaks all over the world, and we are privileged to have her as a regular on Homekeepers. And so we're going to talk about forgiveness. It's so key to the Christian faith. It's so key to life. People who walk around and won't forgive, they're really destroying their own life. So this is going to be good. I'm glad you tuned in. You're going to get a lot out of what Carol has to say about that. And I'm going to join Stephanie. We're going to make a sweet potato orange casserole. I guess there's no end to the things you can do with sweet potatoes. And they are wonderful, healthy vegetables. So we'll try this one. It's got orange slices in it and wonderful, wonderful sauce on it. We'll put it together for you. Before I join her, though, this is Carol's newest book, He Holds My Hand. It's a devotional. One of the finest, and I think I'm a connoisseur of devotionals. I read a couple in the morning. I read one at night. It's right on my bed. I'm not the table. It's on the bed, and it's good to fill up your mind with the things of the Lord. And this is one of the finest ever, and it's by my good friend Carol Kent, and it's yours for a gift to this ministry of $20. I'm telling you, it's worth a lot more than that. Anything Carol does is absolute the best. And so I hope that you would take advantage to get this, because you might not run into it in a bookstore or something. We offer it for you. You can use the 800 number on the screen or the address, and we will be glad to get it out to you. And now I'm joining Stephanie, and we're moving up toward the holidays.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make a face.
Because you don't think you're going to like this.
I'm not so sure.
Oh. Well, what I love about her is, and this program, if the recipe's not good, we'll tell you.
I think if you like sweet potatoes, I think it'll be delicious.
You don't like sweet potatoes?
Not a fan. Not a
fan.
fan.
They're good for you.
Okay, so you're going to spray a pan, and we have sweet potatoes that we boiled whole, peeled the skins off, and we're slicing, and we have orange. Something told me this morning when I put this shirt on, don't wear it.
Don't do that
and
to
I couldn't
cooking.
Remember why, and now I remember.
Now we know.
I almost started a fire this morning.
You don't cook with these bell sleeves on.
No. So, and then we sliced an orange.
And I'm spraying the pan.
Now we halved the recipe because it's ginormous, okay?
Yes, this is half, but
Yeah,
so when you get it from us, it's going to be the regular one.
So
and if you have a big crowd for Thanksgiving, this recipe will feed them.
Yes, a half a stick of butter that I'm melting down with brown sugar, which is, it's supposed to be a cup, so that's a half a cup. And then pecans.
Is that the way they say it in Tennessee?
Pecans. I think it's pecans. I think that's right. So I'm going to melt that down.
Do I put these on the bottom?
Yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to layer sweet potato, orange, sweet potato, orange, sweet potato, orange. While this is melting down.
You mean every other one?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a bigger one.
While this is melting down, I'm going to put in a half a cup of orange juice.
My only question about this is the actual orange slices.
I know.
I know the flavors will be fine.
Maple syrup, cornstarch, and just an eighth of a teaspoon of ground clove, which we're
it seems like nothing.
It seems like nothing, but it is more than enough, let me tell you. The smell, the aroma is amazing.
Do you know I am going to cook a Thanksgiving meal like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving? And I was talking to Susan a while ago. You can be so organized on Thanksgiving. You can have your list, you can check it off, and the last few minutes before that meal, what do? You're making gravy, you're mashing potatoes, everything. And there's dishes all over the kitchen and a mess.
Yep.
If anybody out there knows how to really do a Thanksgiving meal with great organization, please let us know how.
Send us a list. We'll
Yes.
post it. Mm-hmm. I've been posting the recipes every single day on Facebook.
Now, do you put another layer on top?
Well, it's supposed to be one layer, but feel free to put one in the center if we have enough. Like go down the centers of those.
Okay.
Sure. Because there's more orange you could cut too.
Yeah.
Like that, like not on top, like this. Like there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there you go. Thank you.
I need your help.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so we're just melting the sugar down in this one. And this one thickens up because of the cornstarch. So we sprayed the pan. We're layering the cooked sweet potatoes with sliced oranges. I'm then going to pour over the delicious brown sugar, butter, and pecan. And then I'm going to pour over the orange juice, maple
boy,
syrup,
you've got to say it's got the right flavor.
cornstarch, and clove. Yum, yum. I think yum. If it was just the oranges and all of this, I'd be good.
You're, but you're not, you don't hate this as much as green peppers.
No. Peppers are at #1.
I
on my
wonder if you
list
went
there.
into counseling if you could
Hey.
like green peppers.
Why? Why? Why?
Well, you're so adamant about it. I figure.
They're disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
My taste buds don't like them.
Okay.
There's got to be something you don't like. You don't like spicy stuff.
No, that's true. I don't like a lot of heat.
Well, if you go into counseling, would you like spicy
Could go
stuff?
together.
Okay, so there's the layered in the sprayed pan. This is the brown sugar, nuts, and butter. Really, you could put this on ice cream.
There's so many ways to deal with sweet potatoes. We've
Yeah.
done a few recipes
we've
on
made
here.
I'll say this. We've made a few recipes that I liked. It was the whipped sweet potato
Yeah, it was
one that one
more
time
like a
was-
souffle.
Yes, was so good. So then you pour this over, and then you bake it.
It's beautiful.
Bake until the juices bubble and thicken about 15 minutes.
Oh,
At 3 set. Watch it. This is hot. I don't want to burn it. It smells really, really good.
look, there's a lot of juice down
yeah.
in
Maybe if
there.
I just have a bite of the orange. And not
So you don't fix
I'll make them. Doesn't I
don't
won't-
you do you fix sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I just don't eat them.
Oh boy, that's good.
I'm gonna have a bite of orange. That is good.
After all of her negative remarks.
No, it was just the orange. It wasn't a sweet potato.
Oh, okay. Well, I highly recommend it, and I think
So good.
I'll fix it
Yeah.
for the dinner I'm going to have to fix
will
next
not.
week. Anyway, it's called sweet potato and orange casserole. And it's one of the many, many ways you can treat sweet potatoes. So if you want this recipe, information's coming up on your screen. Email's the best, but we'll be glad to get it to you any way we can. Stay with us.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
Welcome back. Carol, it's good to see you again.
Great to be here, Arthelene.
You're traveling all over the world and writing books and speaking.
Just walking through doors that God opens, and that's a joy to live your life that way.
And He gives you the strength to do it. Traveling life isn't that easy.
You would know that
I've done
because
that
you've done a
little
lot
bit,
of
yes,
it.
Yes. We're going to talk about forgiveness today, and probably applies to everybody in the whole wide world. So we've got an audience here. If they will listen, recapping why don't you recap your story? We always have brand new viewers, and your story is bizarre, and how the Lord uses the bizarre things in our life.
Yes, He does. He doesn't waste a thing, does He?
Not a thing.
Well,
He's frugal.
Yes, that can be brutal. But I just want to say hello to all of you viewers and thank you for your support of this show and for all you do for Homekeepers. It's been a privilege for me to be interviewed by Arthelene about our journey with our son. We raised an only child, and he's a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. Made us very proud with the choices he was making, but he married a previously married woman who had 2 children. There were multiple allegations of abuse involving the biological father, and as it appeared that this man was about to get unsupervised visitation, something happened. Our son began to unwind mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. He made the most devastating choice anyone could ever make, and that was to take the life of this man. So, Arthelene, as you well know, we got a middle-of-the-night phone call telling us our son had been arrested for murder. We went through 2.5 years and 7 postponements of the trial before he was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So today we're going to talk about forgiveness, and that sometimes you find that there's such a hard time forgiving your child for making such a terrible choice.
That was my first question.
Yes.
Because a mother loves her kid.
Yes, and especially when you've raised a child to be godly. Jason came to know Jesus when he was a little boy. I saw him do compassionate acts of kindness for others throughout his growing up years. And overall, he was making right choices, and yet he made this devastating choice that negatively impacted his wife, his 2 stepdaughters. Oh, it devastated the family of the victim. It devastated people in our family. And of course, Jean and I, as his parents, could not believe he could have done something like this. And so, you first have that wave of shock. And then you have grief just roll over you.
And you feel sorry for him?
Oh, yes. Yeah. In the beginning, I felt that terrible sorrow because the choice he's made will ultimately impact the entire rest of his life in a negative way.
And the families.
And the families. Oh, the ripple impact just goes on and on and on and on. And I often talk to audiences about the fact that when a crime is committed, you don't just have the side of the victim and the side of whoever is related to the perpetrator of the crime. It just goes on and on and on in layers with people who know you and love you. And so we started to think about what the victim's family was going through. That there was a father, a stepmother, and there was a sister. And to think that they were planning a funeral while we were planning a trial for first-degree murder, it was just overwhelming. So I came to a place, once I went through the initial shock and deep sorrow, where I found I had a little grudge against my son. How could he have made such a horrible choice that would impact so many people in such a negative way and take the life of someone? And yes, he believed that his children could be in danger if they were alone with their biological father, but that is not the way to handle it. And he would tell you that today, but he handled it in the most sinful,
the worst way you could,
way you possibly could handle it. So I needed to come to grips with, could I forgive him?
Was there a moment?
And I can honestly say there was not a single moment in time, because you find that you do forgive them, you love them so much, and then you start to deal with real life. Now, our real life is that every weekend we're home. We are now driving more than a 3-hour round trip to the prison he's in now. And you think, now I'm standing in the line to get in after the long drive, and I'm doing this week after week, month after month, year after year, now 19 years. And you think, oh, you have totally turned my life upside down. And so forgiving can be hard. And then you think of the permanent loss forever of that victim's family, and that with every Christmas, with every birthday, they go through it again and again, and they can honestly look at you and say, well, at least you have the life of your child. At least you can spend Christmas with that child, and we don't have anything. And so I discovered I needed to forgive Jason in layers. And I love
Oh,
what...
really?
Yes. Listen to what Linda said. She said, I often think there's something wrong if we can't forgive totally and completely right off the bat. God knows our hearts and that we want to forgive, and we're working in that direction, but it takes a lot of help from the Holy Spirit to do that. And sometimes it's a choice we have to make daily for a while. And in one of the programs you and I have done before, you quoted Stormy Omartian, and she said this: forgiveness isn't always a one-time thing. She said there are layers of it that we need to recognize. And sometimes we think we've forgiven, but we don't realize how many layers there are. And if we don't deal with each layer, hardness of heart can set in. Ooh, ouch. I don't want to be guilty of hardness of heart. But I think sometimes if we just smooth it over, quote another Bible verse, say another prayer, sometimes we don't deal with what's festering on the inside.
And in anything like that, God is in the process every much as he's in the end product.
Yes.
Christians want it easy. Say, okay, I'm sorry. Give me all your fruit and gifts right now. And I've had to deal with forgiveness that was, it was major surgery.
Whoa, whoa.
Major surgery. There was someone in my life on the staff that I called him Judas. And I've forgotten his name. I've called him Judas for so long.
That's real honesty, Arthelene.
Yeah, and then someone who tried to break up my marriage. And the Lord really dealt with me. And at a point I said, I'm not guilty, I didn't do anything. And I basically said to God, I won't do it. I broke fellowship right there.
Yes.
There was no question.
And you knew it.
Yeah, and I went for 2 years, and I was still leading the choir and teaching the Sunday school class and all. And that thing would come, take your sleep. And one day I was driving to the church, and the Holy Spirit said, you take care of it today, or you're taking a step away from me. And that scared me.
Oh, yes.
It just scared me to death. And I walked to my office, and I picked up the phone, and I called both of them. And I would like to say that when I was through, that the angels came in and we rejoiced and tap danced on the desk.
Yes.
But no, I cried so hard I had to go home. And I'll tell you what I learned from that. I'll forgive you, boy. I'm not going through that again. I can forgive on the spot. I don't know how deeply that could be tested someday.
Yes.
But I learned the hard way that forgiveness isn't easy.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
Well, and I think of what Terry said. She said, my younger brother was murdered, and the young man who did it asked me for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how hard it was for her to even write this to me. She said, I told him my faith required that I forgive him, but I didn't know how I would do it. And then she honestly says it was almost a year before she was even able to pray for the young man. So sometimes we forget, even as Christians, we can hardly pray for those who have offended us.
Don't beat yourself
in
up.
a huge way. And she said, when I did it, I physically felt like I choked on the words. Forgive, even praying for the young man, she was feeling that way. But through obedience and continued prayer for him, my heart of stone became my heart of flesh by God's grace, and I have forgiven for him and pray for his salvation even now. But when we choose not to forgive, we wind up in a prison of our own making.
We do. And to hear that, what's her name?
Her name is Terry.
Terry. That is the reason that Carol comes on once a month. That is the reason. We want to keep talking about inmates. We want to keep talking about their relatives. We want to free up their relatives. Remove the shame.
Yes.
Shame isn't awful. It's like a blanket.
It's a terrible thing. And sometimes we're embarrassed to talk out loud about what's going on and what has happened because we're afraid people will judge us or think we were terrible parents. And we don't want it to be a blight on the family name. And so when we can honestly move in the direction of forgiveness and honesty and even transparency about what has happened. God does amazing things. Somebody came to the Speak Up conference. Once a year I do a conference where I train Christians in speaking and writing skills. And this woman, Patty, came from out of state, and she said, Carol, I want you to know I went to prison for stealing funds from the nonprofit organization I worked for. She said, I used the company credit card to regularly buy items for myself and my family that didn't have anything to do with the ministry that our organization was supporting.
She actually went to prison.
She went to prison for it, and she said, I'm talking like I spent the organization's money on well over $100,000 worth of items that had nothing to do with the ministry.
Might have been a Christian organization.
Yeah, might have been. And she said this, after I got out of prison and served my time, the real challenge was forgiving myself for the terrible thing I had done. But she said, oh, when I finally did, the freedom was overwhelming.
That's a tough one. I've mentioned this on the program before, so some of the regular viewers have heard me talk about it. But I see in that, and they don't know it, but a little bit of pride, because my sin was so special that the cross wasn't enough.
You were in a category all your own.
Oh yeah. I'm a special sinner, and the cross wasn't enough. But you don't need the cross plus anything.
No.
That's all you need. You're forgiven.
It's that's the miracle, isn't it? And it's because of Jesus. I often want to say to people that forgiving is not forgetting. No. I mean,
you nice.
Yes.
Give me some amnesia, Lord.
Yes, and you might be out there right now saying, you know, I was terribly abused, and I will never forgive my perpetrator. I hear from people all the time who will say things like that. I just can't forgive. But what they don't know is that forgiving doesn't mean you forget the wrong, or that what was done to you was somehow all right. No, it was sin. It was horrible. But forgiveness sets you free from bitterness. And that, I think we also need to remind ourselves we need boundaries in place. You know, we don't just say, oh,
not gonna run
you
around
are
with the
my
person.
abuser and you just get to come over to my house anytime you want and spend time with my young children. We don't do that. We put boundaries in place, but we forgive and say, Lord, I entrust you with this whole situation, and I choose not to be bitter. I choose not to be angry. I choose to show unconditional love to somebody even when they don't deserve it.
Absolutely. I've heard that when you won't forgive someone, you're giving them free rent in your brain.
Oh, yes.
And also, what it really, another way to put it is, I release you from what you did to me, because God has released me from what I did to him.
Yes.
And what I did to him was awful.
Oh.
And he has not only released me, then he has embraced me.
That's so powerful.
That's the God that I serve.
It's the ultimate. And Lewis Smedes said something that was so powerful. He says, when you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and then you discover that the prisoner was you.
I know, you know, I hate to inform you on this, but the person you won't forgive, they're sleeping just fine. You're the one that's awake. It really is all about you. It's not about them.
Yes. Laura said this. She said, I hated my offender, and my very first step toward forgiveness was to acknowledge that I hated my offender, because as Christians, we don't even like to say that, that to admit that we might actually hate someone. And she said, then came the process of not hating and the process of repenting for hating before I could even deal with the real issue. And she said, right now, God has begun answering that prayer. And I like that she uses he has begun answering, because for her, it's like unclenching a fist, because she has been tied up in knots over this for so long. And she said, I'm in the beginning stages now of experiencing compassion, even love for my offender.
Wow.
And I feel better than I have in years.
Absolutely. It's like dropping a huge, huge weight. And I know what it's like to truly hate someone and feel vindicated. feel justified.
Yes.
Of course I
They
hate
did
them.
this to me.
But then when you think of the price that Jesus paid to forgive us, there shouldn't be a second thought, and we should eagerly embrace the process. I don't think very much of it's immediate.
Oh, I don't either.
The process, you might take 3 steps forward and 2 back, but I hope you'll really consider forgiving that person that you've held back for so long. You can walk in that freedom. Well, we are out of time, but Carol will be back next month. Looking forward to that. So you stay with me. I have a couple things to say before we have to say goodbye.
Arthelene would like you to keep the following information handy. You may contact Homekeepers by writing to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758, or go to www.rippy.org. Remember, we always enjoy hearing from our viewers, and we thank you for your support.
Boy, that was some rich stuff. I hope that you took it to heart, because it's such a defining subject in the life of a Christian, that forgiveness is key. It's key to your relationship with God, your relationship with people, and I hope you really gleaned a lot out of that. I want to, again, offer you, I was just going through this, what a wonderful book, and it's beautiful, but it's different from so many devotionals because it has a topic, and then it has a quotation by another Christian. Some of them are Chuck Swindoll, Sheila Walsh, Elizabeth Elliot, and so forth. And then the inspirational story, and then at the bottom of each one, there's the scripture. So I cannot really recommend this as highly as I would like. It's absolutely wonderful. It's yours for a gift of $20. And you can use your credit card, 1-800-229-0059, or the address is Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. One of the most beautiful, meaningful things that we've ever offered on this program. And I can't stress enough to fill your mind with the things of the Lord. And there's nothing that does that quite like a devotional. It's so organized, one for every day of the year. So I hope you'll get yours and that you will use it. And I think the best time is in the morning. I heard if you want to, throughout the day, you got to meet him in the morning, right? So I hope you'll get one. And I hope to see you next time. And remember, there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.